What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about what football position you should play based on your height and your weight. So we're going to be talking about the optimal height and weight for each football position, really based on your age. So we're going to be breaking things down from like 6th grade and up, and what position you should play if you are new to football. So fellas, for a lot of these positions, I don't want you to think that like your height and weight is everything, right? There are a lot of things that go into playing these certain positions that we're going to cover from quarterback all the way to defensive line. You need to have certain skills, you need to have certain attributes that we're going to discuss as well. So I don't want you to take this as like, let's say, if you're a 6th grade quarterback, and I'm going to probably say that the average height is like 5'5", right? That's a good height to be able to play quarterback at that age. I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm 5'3", I need to find another position. Like if you're 5'3" and you're a 6th grade quarterback and you're very, very good and you're very, very talented and you have the attributes that require to be able to have success at each position, then you're totally fine. This is just kind of a general gauge. This is for those of you that are new to football. You want to play football, whether that's in high school, whether that's in middle school, youth ball, whatever it is, and you want to know like, hey, what position would I fit in the best? That's what this video is ultimately for. So let's start with the quarterback position, okay? So the quarterback position, it's honestly a very skill-based position. You need to have accuracy. You need to have arm strength. You need to be able to extend the play, right? But I would say for like 6th and 7th grade, anywhere from like 5'5" to 5'7" is generally a good height range. Quarterbacks tend to be one of the taller players on the team in contrast to maybe, or in comparison, I would say, or parallel with offensive line and defensive line. But I would say anywhere from 5'5" to 5'7" is great for you. Now for an 8th grade quarterback, at least the ones that I've trained, and this is all based off of experience, you guys. We travel across the country. We work with tons of athletes at every single position group. I myself am just a quarterback and receiver guy, but we have other positions at our camps that we do, at our clinics that we do, and this is just based off of statistics that we have seen because we see everybody's height, we see everybody's general weight. We'll ask a lot of questions to the athletes, like, hey, what position, how tall are you, do you play multiple positions, whatever. So this is all based off of experience, right? Now for 8th grade quarterback, like I said, 5'8" to 5'9". I think generally that's fair. I think a lot of 8th grade quarterbacks reclass. Like I know me personally, I train a kid that goes to modern day high school, right? And he's, I would say, probably 5'7", but he's a true freshman. He did not hold back. He did not repeat the 8th grade, but he's competing with a lot of quarterbacks at the freshman level, and this is modern day high school, generally the best high school in the country every single year. Guys that he's competing with are like 6'3", 6'2". Like, it's unbelievable, the size of some of these kids. So again, some of you might think that that's a little tall, and that's fine. In your area, that might be a little bit tall, but at the same time, you guys, like, I've seen a lot of athletes. I try to give you as real of a recommendation, or I guess you could say as real of a representation of the average sizes at your age group, just so you guys know what to expect. If you're a 5'6" quarterback and you're a freshman, you better be really good at certain things to help you stand out from the rest. And that's what I'm going to try to cover in this video. I'm not just going to list a bunch of heights and be like, okay, there you go. If you're undersized, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. So if you're undersized at the quarterback position, you got to have good speed. You got to be able to extend the play and get out of the pocket. You got to be able to throw on the run. You got to have a quick release to be able to beat the defensive line because, quite frankly, he can't see. And because, guys, as a freshman, I was like 5'5". Like, I was not a big guy, but I was still able to play at a very high level school because I had some of these attributes. And you have to be smart. You got to have good decision-making skills, because if you know how to read a defense and know where to drive the ball, know who to look towards, that helps you make up for a lack of height. So you need to have those attributes. Now, let's talk about high school. From 9th grade to 12th grade, I would say probably anywhere from 5'10" to 6'2" is average. When you're a junior, senior, if you're above 6 foot, I think that's good for a quarterback. But again, this is just to let you guys know where you would fit in best if you're looking for what football position to play. But your height at the end of the day, like, you could be 6'5", but if you can't throw the ball accurately, you don't have arm strength, you can't throw with anticipation, you can't read a defense, you can't really play the quarterback position. There are a lot of things that go into the quarterback position, which is why I talk about it first, because other positions I think are a little bit more size specific, or like more so based on that eye test that you see, right? Because like that's something that a lot of college coaches will throw around, but even high school coaches do it when they're getting their roster at a tryout or however your team does it. It's the eye test. Does he pass the eye test? Does this guy look like a football player? And so that's ultimately what I want to get across to you today. Okay, so now let's move on to receivers and DBs. So in 6th and 7th grade for receivers and DBs, I would say anywhere from like 5'3" to 5'5". Now, these numbers are going to be very, very similar to running backs, right? I think honestly, it's really just the exact same for a running back, but running backs are a little bit on the heavier side of things, right? Now, I don't want you to worry so much about weight. I'm not going to give you the exact weight because I think that does you a little bit of a disservice as an athlete to worry about the exact weight. Like me personally, when I was in high school, school, I weighed probably at my maximum 170 pounds as a senior, right? I was extremely light, and that's like 170 soaking wet, right? But I looked like I weighed a lot more. I looked like I was like 185 because I had a very low body fat percentage. And naturally for guys, you know this, it's harder to put on weight. It's much easier to lose weight as a guy. You just skip a couple meals and you drop freaking 3 or 4 pounds. But again, it's more so you're on the lighter side of things as a receiver in contrast to a running back who's maybe on the heavier, stockier side of things if you're deciding which position to play. Anytime somebody who asks me like, hey, you know, I'm an 8th grader, I'm shorter, like, you know, like 5'6" or something like that, I look at their weight when they ask me what position they should play. If I'm 5'6" and 115 pounds, I'm probably going to tell you to play slot receiver. If you're 5'6", 135 pounds, I'm probably going to tell you to play running back because those are the best spots for guys who are generally on the smaller side of things in terms of height, but your weight ultimately plays a role. So for receiver and DB, I think these are probably good numbers for you. Now, to determine should I play DB, should I play receiver, I think you should play both personally, but at the same time, like I think if you don't have the best hands, remember we talked a lot about attributes. These positions require certain attributes. If you don't have the best hands, probably defense is for you. That's generally how DBs are made. Like you go to any college camp, any football tryout, the receiver line is like 30 dudes and the DB line is like 5 guys, and then okay, the 15 that can't catch, you're gonna go play DB. That's generally how it goes, you know what I mean? So that's what I would say for 6th and 7th grade. For 8th grade, I would probably say for receivers, 5'7" to 5'8". If you're under that, like you're 5'6", slot is good for you because slot receivers are generally shorter guys. And then for high school, I would say for receivers, it's probably anywhere from 5'9" to 6'1". If you're a varsity receiver and you're 6 foot and above, you're probably gonna play on the outsides. If you're below 6 foot as a varsity receiver, you're probably gonna play out of the slot. Now, what if you're a shorter guy? What if you're a shorter DB? What if you're a shorter receiver? You really want to play this position. You love that position. That's the position you want to stick with. Again, you need some attributes. I'm not just going to tell you need to be this tall and then that's that. So if you're on the shorter side of things below the averages that we've listed for a receiver, I would say you need to have great speed. It's a very tough sell. Like I'm telling you this right now. Hey, I want to play receiver, but I'm short and slow. It's like, man, there's not many spots for you on the field if that's the case, right? So that's number one. Number two, gotta have good hands. You gotta be reliable with the ball. The fear for shorter guys who are a little bit undersized is going over the middle. Can you catch the ball and take a hit, right? Now, again, maybe you're on the defensive side of the ball if that's the case and you have bad hands. And you gotta have a good football IQ as a receiver. You gotta know how to run routes versus different coverage looks. That's something that's highly beneficial for you shorter guys. Now DBs, you could always make up for a lack of size with great technique, so good man coverage, good zone coverage, good off-man coverage, and then obviously speed. Those things you need to have if you're undersized at that receiver position, okay? Now fellas, before we get into the rest of these positions on this video, talking about heights, weights, attributes, things like that, if you're a QB or a receiver watching this video and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 15 different cities across the entire country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps this offseason, fellas. So guys, if you want to sign up, go to that very first link in the description below. That's where you can get all the information and see if we are coming to a state near you. Our camps, you guys, are purely focused on development, and you can't develop athletes, I'm a firm believer in this, if you're not explaining to them what they do wrong and how to correct it. And that's what we do. But we can't have 1 million people at these camps and have that style of coaching. We just don't have that kind of time. We don't have the time at these camps. We only camp is 4 hours each day. It's 2 days. We don't have unlimited time. We have a set schedule with the schools that we have these camps at. You need to be on the field at this time and off the field at this time. So we limit spots so each of you can get the required coaching that you need. So guys, the spots for these camps will sell out. We will sell out probably 2 to 3 months in advance. Our next camp is going to be in December. We will not have any availability once November or end of October rolls around. So guys, go to that very first link in the description below. That is where you can sign up. Our first camp is going to be in San Francisco, California. Then we'll be coming out to Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Columbia, South Carolina. Then we'll be coming out to Seattle, Washington after that. After that, we'll be coming out to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, then Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, want some info? Very first link in that description below. That's where you can sign up. We hope we can see you there, okay? So now let's get to running backs. Like I said, same exact numbers as a receiver faster, you're just heavier. So 6th, 7th grade, 5'3" to 5'5". 8th grade, 5'7" to 5'8". Varsity player, 9th to 12th grade, or high school player, I should say, 5'9" to 6'1", but you're on the heavier side of things. So in high school, if you're like 170 pounds and above as a freshman, probably running back is a good spot for you, right? As a junior or senior, you're like 185 to 200, and you have some athleticism, running back would be a better spot for you, okay? So what if you're undersized? Obviously, you can make up for a lack of size with good, or a lack of height with good size, good weight, right? Because the fear with the running back is every time you touch the ball, you're pretty much getting contact, right? So you can't be super light and be short and play running back, or at least have as much success as one would think at the running back position. So having good weight, weighing a lot, can help you out a lot. Good lateral change of direction, smooth cuts, being able to make people miss, and being able to read the offensive line and hit the hole hard. Those are all things that running backs need to have if you are undersized and you want to make it work, okay? So now, let's get to linebackers. So for linebackers, I would say 6th and 7th grade, anywhere from 5'6" to 5'8". These numbers are a little bit similar to the quarterback position, right? For 8th grade, I'd probably say like 5'9" is generally average, and then for 9th through 12th grade, anywhere from 5'10" to 6'2". So very, very similar to the quarterback position. Now, I would say you probably need to have a little bit more weight on you than the quarterback position does. A varsity QB who's probably 6 foot, and probably weighs like 180 pounds, I would say, at the high school level. Varsity linebacker who's 6 foot is probably going to be in that 200, 205, maybe a little bit more than that if you're talking about a varsity level linebacker. So like if you're on that path, you feel like you're going to be that big, linebacker might be a good spot for you, right? You might have a little less athleticism than like a running back or a receiver or a DB, but you have good lateral change of direction. Now, if you're undersized, but you really want to play linebacker, it's still possible. Same thing as a running back, you need to have some size. You can't be skinny and short and play linebacker. More often than not, they're probably going to put you at DB if you don't have the greatest hands and you want to play on the defensive side of the ball. But one thing you could do is good tackling skills. So I always recommend for defensive guys, like I'm not a defensive guy personally. Like I can't really tell you a whole lot about like defensive, technique, if you will. I can tell you a little bit about tackling because obviously from just experience of playing football and being around the game, I can tell you about tackling, but having good tackling skills, why I always recommend defensive guys play rugby or do some type of wrestling because it's really the same mechanics. Rugby guys have great tackling form, and then wrestling, it's really the same idea when you're doing a takedown as tackling a guy. So that's something that maybe if you play and you want to play football, that's a great position for you to be able to start at, okay? So now, let's get to tight ends. So tight ends are the biggest freaks on the field, in my opinion, in a good way, obviously, right? Because when you factor in height, you factor in weight, and you factor in speed, there's some of the most genetically gifted people out there, right? You look at a Division I level tight end, you're expecting anywhere from 6'3" to 6'5", 225 pounds or more. 225 might be shooting light if they're 6'5". Like you're looking at dudes it's insane, the tight end position. They don't get enough credit for how good of athletes they are when you factor in their route running skills, their speed, and their size, right? So this is going to be on the higher side of things. So if you want to play tight end, I'd say 6th, 7th grade, 5'7" to 5'9". 8th grade, probably 5'10". I would say that's probably the same for a freshman. And then for 9th to 12th grade, like 5'11" to 6'3". That's generally what you're looking at. Like you're a sophomore, probably 6'1", junior 6'2", senior 6'3". That's like kind of the height pool that we're looking at here. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, isn't that similar to offensive line and defensive line? Absolutely. When we go over O-line and D-line, these numbers are going to be very, very similar. However, I would say if you're that big and you don't have route running skills, you're not the fastest, and you don't have the best hands, probably playing on the line is better for you. Okay? But if you are that big and you're a good athlete, you can run, you have a decent 40 time, you have good speed, and you have good hands, then tight end's a great spot for you because everybody loves a great tight end. That's a very, very highly recruited position. If you have that size and you can move well, run good routes, catch the ball consistently, everybody loves a good tight end. So that's probably what I would recommend to you. Now you're undersized, make up for it by great run blocking, great pass blocking, so all that's technique based. Again, I'm not an offensive line guy, I'm not a blocking guy, I know a little bit about receiver blocking, but it's a little bit different from the offensive line. However, the great technique will make up for that. And then obviously great route running and great hands. Now again, if you're on undersized side of things, maybe you're a little heavier, but you have great route running, great hands, maybe you consider losing some weight increasing your speed and playing receiver, because then you'd be maybe on the bigger side of things as a receiver. So it's just kind of that push-pull, you guys. Now, let's talk about O-line and D-line. So similar numbers to tight end. For 6th, 7th grade, probably 5'8 to 5'10, I would say, or like probably 5'8 to 5'9. 8th grade, probably like 5'10, 5'11, and then 9th through 12th grade, probably anywhere from 6 foot to 6'3. Now again, some of you might be like, Coach, that's huge. Like, those guys are big. Like, that's not average. I tell you this right now. So remember I talked in the beginning of this video about that freshman kid that I train who goes to Mater Dei, right? So I went to watch him play. I went and watched Mater Dei's freshman football team. They were bigger than my high school varsity offensive line when I was a senior in high school. Okay, you guys, like, it's insane. These kids are, it's just ridiculous, man. You get these Polynesian kids who are freaking giants, and so you get some kids who held back, you know, they're 16 almost, and they're huge. Like, that's just the level. You just have to think of it like this. And that's what college coaches are recruiting nowadays, man. Like, it's just that I wish it wasn't that way. I wish holding back and reclassing and repeating a grade wasn't what you do nowadays. But, you know, with college recruiting being so transfer portal heavy, less and less high school players get offers every single year. So, like, they are looking at really special players when they're going to recruit them right out of high school and give them a scholarship offer that's worth six-figure money, because that's how much it is. If you go to a school, it's 40 grand a year, 40 times 4. What is that? $160,000? It's a six-figure offer that they're going to be giving these kids, so they're looking for guys that are, you know, genetically gifted, if I'm being completely real with you and completely honest with you. Now, you're obviously going to be on the heavier side of things. You're going to be heavier than a tight end. So, like, let's say you're a high school offensive lineman, you're 6 foot, 6'1", and you're like 250, 270, like, yeah, line's probably a great spot for you, right? Defensive line to O-line, D-line are generally like more athletic. They're a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. So if you feel like you're on that bigger side of things, but you have that natural speed and quickness, playing defensive end or nose tackle might be a good spot for you as well. Okay, now if you're undersized at the defensive line, offensive line position, can always make up for it with technique. Technique is key. If you have really great technique as an offensive lineman, but you're deemed undersized, you can still play. It's just, you know, it's harder. You're going to be going up against guys that are just trees, but that's part of the game, especially being an undersized player, okay? So I hope that makes sense, fellas. Now, since we went over every position, what we're going to do now is do a Q&A. So we're going to answer some questions that you guys left in the comment section from a previous episode of our show. So we do this every single show. So guys, if you have questions, maybe it's your first time watching us, maybe you watched us before, haven't watched us in a while, we answer questions that you guys leave on these episodes in the next episode. So guys, if you want your questions featured, do not hesitate. Post those in the comment section below. We love interacting with you guys, and we love featuring you on our show if it's a good question that we feel can give everybody some value. Okay, so question number 1 from Chaotic Plays 932. So my coach from last year has a son, and he always makes him quarterback, but he always just either runs it or gives it to the running back. So how do I impress my coach so much to where he decides to switch his son for me at quarterback? So if you're dealing with a little bit of daddy ball, like the coach's son is playing quarterback, playing whatever position that you're trying to shoot for, the best way to deal with it is, number 1, be honest with yourself. Like, is this kid really bad, or is he honestly just better than me and I need to improve my game? That's number 1. You gotta be honest with yourself. If you feel like, okay, so number 2, if you feel like you are better than that guy and you feel like you're kind of getting screwed over a little bit, you have to make it so obvious that that coach is getting pressure from other parents, other coaches, and from guys on the team. You have to make it very, very obvious. So you're asking about the quarterback position. You need to make sure that you have a stronger arm. You're more accurate. And here's the thing, you could be better in all those areas, you think so at least, but if you're not showing it in practice day in and day out, he ain't gonna play you, bro. Like, he needs to see it. So you need to make sure that you're executing in practice and make it so freaking obvious that you're better than that guy, and you may get an opportunity if the starter keeps, you know, not performing as well. So I hope that makes sense, man. I appreciate you asking that question. Next question from CJJWR5. Hey, coach, I'm a junior in high school, and I've never played football before because I've always been very skinny and afraid of getting injured. Fits in with what we're talking about today. However, I'm pretty fast, and I've always loved watching football. I've been working out a bunch over the past month and a half to get stronger, big enough over the next year to play wide receiver my senior year of high school. Is this even realistic? What else should I be doing to prepare myself, and what should I expect for the tryout process? Do I need to buy a helmet and pads just to try out? So if your first year of football is like your senior year, you want to play wide receiver, and let's say you have a tryout, like you're getting ready for a football tryout, whatever it is. Couple things. You want to have good route running as a receiver, you want to have good speed, and you want to have good catching ability. So those should be would be 3 things that you should be heavily focused on with your off-season training. When it comes to a tryout for the school to be able to make the team, I don't think it's too late for you. Plenty of guys start late. You're definitely behind the curve a little bit, so I wouldn't necessarily compare yourself to other players if you're starting late, but you need to understand that, like, I need to show up every single day with the attitude that I'm going to get 1% better. I'm not going to compare myself. I'm just going to stay in my lane and work. Because your path, if you want to play in college, is probably going to be balling out your senior year the best way you can, and then probably going to a junior college, getting some good film there, and potentially landing an offer to a bigger university after that. That's generally the path. It's hard to get a scholarship offer with 1 year of varsity film unless you play at a major program that gets guys to the next level every single year. It's hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. So if you got to try out for that team, if you focus on, like I said, your speed, routes, and your hands, and you could showcase that in that tryout and showcase that you're in good shape, because at tryouts they generally make you run, I think you'll make the team, and then you just got to have that attitude of 1% better every day until the season starts. So hope that answers your question, man. I appreciate you asking that. Next question from Trev SYG. Thank you, Coach Graham, for watching your videos, and I'm now starting nose tackle. Can you make a video about proper hydration and nutrition before games and during the season? Yes. So when it comes down to hydration and nutrition before a game, the key is the night before the game or the day before the game, you should be drinking a gallon of water. That's super important. Hydration doesn't happen the day of. You still should be drinking water the day of, but the day before, you need to make sure that you're hydrated as well. That's something that a lot of people don't anticipate, especially if you're playing your game at 7 p.m. at night. Guys will drink a bunch of water leading up to that point, and that's fine. You should be doing that, but the day before, you also need to be hydrating as well. Nutrition, you need to be eating like natural, slow-releasing carbs at least 2 hours before a game. So what I mean by that is you shouldn't be eating like a bunch of like white flour or stuff that might slow down your digestion, because that's what makes you like kind of sluggish. So fast food is out of the question. White bread should be out of the question. You should be eating like some type of sweet potato, brown rice, or rice. Maybe some people say brown rice is bad. I don't necessarily agree with that, but if you want to just eat regular white rice, that's cool too. Some like whole grain, you know, like pasta. Nothing that's going to like spike your blood sugar, because then it's going to come down, you're going to feel tired. So those slow releasing carbs that can give you energy over a sustained amount of time, and then lean protein to give you muscle fuel, right? So like I'm talking chicken, you know, maybe some type of eggs, you know, like beef, turkey, something like that would be great for you to have before a game. So I hope that answers your question, man. I appreciate you asking that. All right, fellas, that does it for this episode. But seriously, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope this was able to help. Hope you guys got some value out of this. Remember, if you have questions, stuff you want to ask me, do not hesitate. Post those in the comment section below. We'll feature you on our next episode of our show, and I always reply. You guys know the deal. So again, guys, post your questions in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time.